What's up, geeks, and welcome to one of several of our new series on the channel. This is Geeks Evolved, where we will be going over and covering some information on a game called Beasts Evolves. And this game just went out globally a little over a month ago in October, and it is quite a good game. I do enjoy it. It kind of has a slight Pokemon feel in that you collect monsters, but that's pretty much all it really has similar, and it doesn't have anywhere near the amount of creatures that a game like Pokemon has. But it is a pretty cool game in its own right. The battle system is a nice side-scrolling, slightly automated system where you use special Astra skills, these guys here. These guys will be your active skills that you'll be using in most battles, not all PvP battles. But then the core of your game is going to be focused on gaining and powering up new beasts. And these guys are all have several evolutions, up to 4 evolutions. Almost all beasts have up to the 4th evolution, and then you have birth monsters, which are beasts like Vulcan and Death Star, which we'll explain here in a little bit. But basically, they're used by breeding 2 of the other 4-star monsters to get, and they're quite a bit more powerful, and they're the stuff you start getting at endgame. But before that, you'll start off with some basic green guys, and most of these green guys I have are actually, you know, low level because I don't use them anymore. They're pretty much just used for skills once you get to this point for adding to other monsters' skill powers, but you don't want to feed monster skills unless they're really a birth monster, or the one exception I will say is you want to try and get Virtue in the beginning of the game because he's a great starting unit to have on almost any team, and you will, or you can, you don't have to, but you can train up his top skill there, Flame, because it will make you do a lot of damage and get you through a lot of the early game a lot easier. I didn't get Virtue to quite a bit in, and it wasn't until I got Virtue that I really started going faster through the game, and it actually broke me through a wall. That and my learned knowledge on how to use glyphs and utilize glyphs properly, and just how important it is to make sure you upgrade glyphs and get more powerful glyphs. Now, your glyphs here are basically stat boosters and additional skills. You have stuff like Revive, which is a karma glyph, and it's a special glyph you'll get after your monsters get a little bit more powerful, and that'll give you stuff like Revive, reduce knockback, attack leeching. But then these ones here give you stuff like Vigor, Power, which is your attack power, damage resistance. And you know, we'll go over glyphs a little bit more in a separate video where we really explain glyphs and how to glyph properly and how to. On top of that, you also have your mutates, which will be another thing that are really important to making your monsters strong. And in the beginning of the game, you definitely do want to try and push most of your monsters' mutates up to plus 10. Don't go too much farther on those, except for your ancient, the one that you start with, because you will always be using him in pretty much every team. Whichever unit you take, your ancient's going to be one of your strongest units throughout the entire game. So you could always safely up your mutate on your ancient beast because it's not a waste. You'll always be using them. But other than that, stuff like Death Star, who you will eventually get just throughout playing the game, or Vulcan, who I got through a Unleash pull, which is one of the big pulls. Those are monsters that once you get, you will want to start mutating them. I haven't gone too far into it because right now I am still saving my mutate spores, which are the red things up here, the 363, and the top center screen. Are used for evolving your creatures, and as you can see, it does take kind of a bit to evolve creatures, so don't go wasting them. Don't go using all your spores off on mutating and evolving all of your creatures, because you're going to want those as you unlock birth creatures, and to unlock birth creatures, because it costs quite a bit to unlock them. As you see, 600 evolution evolve spores and 300 or 200 mutate spores. And some of these have different ones there. You know, but 300 and 300, and Death Star is one of the ones you get through the game, as well as Sloth and Daylight. All three of those crystals here, the Daylight Crystal, Sloth Crystal, and Death Star, you will find throughout the game as you get to the 120 plus levels. I believe 120, I can't remember exactly which levels you get them on, but I can show you here real quick as we go over some of the stuff that you kind of want to be doing every day in the game to make sure you're constantly getting the most out of your energy. And this game is kind of heavily based on spending your crystals, your little blue currency in the middle of the top three up there, and your gems. You'll be using those pretty much every day to restore your stamina for at least the 25 boost and possibly the 50 boost, probably the 50 boost. I don't really do it too often, but if you're really trying to get into it and play a lot, you definitely will find yourself doing it. But as it goes, 128 will unlock you the Sloth Crystal. 124 will unlock you the Death Star Crystal. And the final level will unlock you the Daylight Crystal. And those will get you your first couple of birth monsters. But as I said, that doesn't come till later in the game. I'm at like 25 days, I believe. So it takes quite a bit of time to get there, but not too much time. So keep in mind, you're going to want to save crystals or spores for those. But as far as the crystal saving goes, like I was saying earlier, you're going to be using your crystals, but you do want to save them. Now, before level 25-ish, you could pretty much use some crystals to do some unleashed openings. Some people don't like to because they don't seem to have much luck with the pulls. I have had pretty good pulls. I have known a lot of people who have, so I wouldn't be shy on the unleash, for the exception of the fact that you're going to want to have those crystals saved. So do a couple before 25. You'll get a free unleash one at 25. And you'll probably be doing your first unleash pull or second unleash pull by then. I believe that was when I did my second unleash pull. And you want to kind of stop there with unleash pulls, because when you beat certain levels, those levels starting at 124, which is over here, this one, the same one you get the Death Star Crystal, you will get a special event called the Baby Shower. And I actually have one, and we're going to be using my crystals in this episode to buy that Baby Shower. You also get one, I can't remember exactly what the middle one was, but there's three in between here. 124, the last level 140 will get you a Baby Shower, and it might be 133. I'm not sure. You will get another one in between those two, and you want to make sure to have enough crystals to buy all three of those events, because they only happen 3 times and they're really good deals. And this is what they are right here. They give you 150 of each spore type for 1,688 gems. So you definitely want to make sure to save up at least the couple thousand, between 5,000 and 6,000 gems to do that. But you will have an ample amount of gems from my experience, and you will be able to buy some unleashed in that time, as well as making sure to use at least 25 for energy, and you'll end up using for a few other things, I'm sure, here and there, and it won't be a problem. Just don't go too crazy until after you get those Baby Shower events. And that was my last one, so now I'm feeling a lot better about that, because I can start using my crystal shards on things like Unleashed unlocking again, or the shop. And this is where I've sunk a little bit more of my crystals than I want it to, but the shop definitely has its bonuses, so make sure to check it back. The dealer only does 1 item a day, and it could be a good item though, and it's always like 3 of the glyphs if it's glyphs. So I have bought pretty much a lot of glyphs from there, not a lot, but as much as I could, of vigor and attack. And those are pretty much the things you're going to want to keep an eye out for to spend a lot of your currencies on, is vigor and power glyphs. Now you can also spend them on the ones like on the Karma ones, the Revive and Detonate and Berserk if you need them. I I wouldn't say it's a waste, but the things you really are going to be spending yours on are these. Again, the spores. These can keep coming back and play. Lots of spores need it. So keep that in mind as going through. But during your day, you're going to do a couple of things on top of playing through the different levels. And one of those things is collecting food and gold from the side menu below the Lust and boss icons there on the right. I don't have any to collect right now, but that's where they'll show up, and that happens a few times a day. Other than that, you also have dispatch here on this screen, which if you can see I have some done, you'll click it and it'll claim it. So go back in there, and once you've claimed your reward, you can send some explorers out to do this. Now, a thing to remember here, and this is a good thing, when I started, I thought that anybody you sent out exploring wouldn't be usable in battle. That's not true. You can send out any units you want, have them explore, and you can still use those units on your team to battle other people. And we're going to go back to this main screen and check out our next major thing that you want to make sure to do every day. And those are your world events. And there are a couple of world events that you will always need to make sure to get done, or want to make sure to get done. That is Temptation, which I don't have the stamina to do right now, so we're not going to worry about it. But Temptation, which will get you your mutated spores. Holy Trinity, which will get you Vigor glyphs. Slay the Dragon, which has the power glyphs. And those are going to be your two most important glyphs. If you didn't notice, I kind of focused on them a bit because they will be your most used, so focus on grinding those out the most. Anything else you're going to want to grind out, you're going to want to grind on a situational basis if you need them. Now, evolved spores come from the Cathesis Green. I think that's how you pronounce that. I'm not exactly sure, sorry. But you also want to do those, and you'll see I still have those attempts there. I still got to get those done. Other things you might want to do, especially in the early game, and pretty much every day, either way, is Full Bronze Alchemist. These are actually kind of a hard drop. You won't always get them. Sometimes you go a whole day doing all 5 attempts and you get 1 or maybe even 0 if you're really unlucky. But every once in a while you'll grab quite a few of them. I managed to grab 4 the other day. I was pretty excited about that. These are situational. That one is. And then these ones, Perseus and the Batman, could be really useful. And these will basically let you do the lower level draw from the shop that's under Unleashed called the BCS draw. And that is going to be one of your main sources of monsters, so you definitely do want to grind out these materials, which will be the Sclerite, the Heart, and again, the Euphoria Crystal. So make sure you do those to grab those. And then on top of that, once you get to it, these ones won't come till quite a bit away, but you will want to make sure to do your Honor of Kings every day. And things like Beast Wars, 3 Scourge, you won't be doing as much. You do want to do like this one, it's 1 attempt a day. You're going to want to make sure to do that. And you know what? Just to give you guys a little example of how the game works and how it functions, we're going to go ahead and do this because we do have enough energy, and this will get us what we need. Now, this is my first time doing this quest. Actually, I haven't really gotten to do it yet, so something I do actually need to do. I don't know why I've been taking so long, and I'm not so sure I could actually beat it. This one's a little bit more difficult. Maybe I wasn't paying enough attention there at the beginning. I needed some Astra moves, and that's what these buttons are at the bottom. They control your big guy here that floats. It's an Astra ability, and you have more control over those. As you can see, I kind of got killed on that, and that's why I still don't have it unlocked. I thought I was today, but there is one more thing that you're going to want to make sure to do on a daily basis here on your story map, and that is some bosses here. Now, this boss here at the very end, the second to last boss, once you do that, beat that, you're going to want to make sure to do that every day because you have the chance to get 2 of the stone and the heart that you need for the BC's upgrade. So always do make sure to do these ones. And these, the boss fights, only cost 1 food source, so there's really no reason you shouldn't be doing them. if you run out of energy, put the phone on the charger for a little while, then come back in 5 minutes, I believe, or 10 minutes, however long it takes for the energy to charge for one, and you're good to go. You know, just make sure you get it done, because if you don't, you might find yourself needing those materials one day and being just that much short. So it's, like I said, it's easy grinding for really cheap, which if you saw in the world events, usually things aren't that cheap. So on to our last guy here. We'll take him out, and there we go. We have our victory. Pretty solid one. And we managed to get 2 of both the Skrillite and the heart, which are exactly what you want to pull from this one mainly. Try and always get those. The other 2 are useful too, but not quite as useful as those. So this boss, on the other hand, the last boss, actually is something that you do want to do on a daily basis as well, because you could get Daylight Lacrima, and as well as the other ones, the Death Star 124 and the Sloss 128, to get their Lacrims, which will let you awaken those units and make them even more powerful once you do have them. And of course, once you beat those levels, you are set up to get them. And with that being said, I'm going to show you guys how birth monsters work real quick, because I did beat the last boss today to get the Daylight Crystal, and I have been waiting to unlock Daylight for quite some time now. There's a lot of gold to get throughout the game, but not really escapades, which you could do, I believe 3 times a day. It's free the first time, and then it costs crystals the second and third time, which they're totally worth the crystals if you have the extras to use them. Again, just make sure you're saving them for those baby shower events. Now, with that, we have our new unit, Birth, Daylight, and she is going to go right on our team to replace Bliss, but we're going to wait on that because we do have some stuff to do. We're going to get to a few more things you want to do every day over here on this screen. One of those is going to be the friends. Now, the friends button is actually available in both. You want to make sure you send all and claim all. That's all you really got to do here. Of course, you're going to have to build up your friends beforehand, but little time and energy making requests, you'll definitely fill out your friend list and be able to get people that donate on a daily basis. Next is your fossils, and fossils are actually a pretty cool thing in this game that I really quite like. They give you permanent stat bonuses for all your monsters, and so what you do here is you will excavate a fossil. I've already have this one ready to excavate another one, but I'm not done with the things that I needed. As you can see, these 2 fights are what are known as genomes, and there are 4 of them on here, and this is why this is a really good fossil. These genomes are what boost your stats. None of these other things are stat boosting, but they will give you the evolve spores, the mutate spores, and divine spores, which are used to power up your Astras. And those, I would say, the way to do this is to not necessarily aim for those, at least not quite early game. What I always do is I go through to try and find the mutates, and of course you're going to be unlocking some of those to find mutates, or genomes. I'm sorry, I know I said mutates, the genomes. And these 2 genomes here are actually the strongest genomes in the game. I got really lucky with my first 2 genomes on this fossil. Usually they don't have 4 genomes, it's quite a lot. To have 2 of the Giga genomes is the strongest stat boost speed in the game. So that's really cool that I got 2 of them. We're going to show you they're easy but not easy. So I haven't had any trouble beating any of them as I came to them. So unless you get the Giga ones early on, you probably won't have any trouble either. But, you know, you just kind of whittle them down, and then once you beat them, you'll get a pretty good stat boost. Because, as I said, these Giga ones are the strongest. So I got really lucky in this poll with not only 4 genomes, but 2 of them being Giga boosted. They're going to give me some pretty high stat boosts here into my fossil level. And attack plus 20, that's what I got on my last Giga. This is my only second Giga level one, so that's cool. It's going to add another plus 20 attack to my creature. And as you can see, all these open. And we have 15 of these saved up, so we're going to have to start using those. And what I like to do is I'll go through and I'll follow the path and hit these guys to unlock pretty much what I can see. And with that I've already found a genome, so it wasn't necessarily necessary, but with the 15 thing sack I did need to use them so I could start building more. Now, I'm not going to do this other genome fight right away because you guys don't necessarily need to see it, but that is pretty much what you do there, and you will raise these stat boosts here over on the left hand side. As you can see, the now side is the stat boost that I have. The max is the max for my current fossil level, which is in the box right above there. You gain the experience by doing those areas in the fossil like I just showed you. You'll just find random experience boxes, and basically, yeah, you just want to try and go through these fossils and get all the genomes in them. And then once all the genomes are done, if the excavate button is active, you go ahead and press that excavate button. Don't worry about collecting all the other items on there. Just keep cycling through those fossils to get more genomes as fast as possible, is my opinion. You might not be able to excavate right away. You have to wait, I believe, 6 hours before you can excavate into a new one right after you excavate a fossil. So that's the difference there. Even if your fossil doesn't have any genomes at all, you might still have to end up waiting 6 hours. But in that case, of course, just go through and start unlocking things like evolved spores, mutated spores, and divine spores. Now, that's pretty much it for the fossils, which is cool. Not too much there. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get right into the love shack. So we got a draw here for Obesius that I've been waiting to do. I've been saving up for it. Now, you don't have to save up to get a crate times 10. It takes a while, but I did it for this video so I can show you guys exactly what you can pull from this. But you know, usually you just use it with the crate times 1 and do as much as you can. And this is the second level one, which allows you to pull from this list, which is pretty much all the good stuff, just not with quite the rates that the Unleashed has. Now the Unleashed is the better, but as I said, it costs kind of a bit at 2,800 gems, so only really do it when you get the gems before level 25, and then wait till after you do all the baby shower events before you start doing it again. And then that's still really up to you if you want to, because it depends what you're going to be getting from your BCSs. So let's see what we get from this BCS pull, and this will be a 10 times pull. Cool. Okay, so we unlock Turner, which is 4-star, and it happens to be one of the guys we needed to get Sloth. So that's great. That's an awesome pull. Pretty much exactly what we needed. And then we unlock Cage, which is cool too, because I don't think I have Cage, and the Whacker, which is also cool. I actually have a Whacker, and this is why you should be careful evolving things, because then you pull one several days later after evolving one. I had just gone so long without it. I knew I was going to need the 4-star, and I kind of wanted one for a team that I needed, for a match that I had that I was struggling with, and it really helped. But now I'm regretting it because I just pulled one. So, and then we got another Cage, and we got a Will of the Ancients, which is really good. The Will of the Ancients there will help you raise your skill level of your Ancient. So that's a good pull. Pretty glad with that. Leech, of course, nice to have. 2 coin pulls, always good. Evolve Spores and some Virtue Shards. Virtue Shards are probably the thing here that I don't need pretty much at all. But then again, in the end, it will give me possible. I'd have to get that 10 more times. Well, I've already gotten one, so I'd have to get it 8 more times to unlock Virtue, because you need 30 shards to unlock something. Now, that's pretty much what it is with the BCS. I did get a level 4 evolution, which is cool. You can also get births from it, which is even cooler. That is how I pulled the Fable birth monster, but you'll generally get those more from the Unleashed. As you can see, it gives you a guaranteed 4th stage beast. I misdraw, sorry, I had to read it there to understand exactly. So once you roll 5 and you don't get a level 4, the next time on your 6th Unleashed, it will give you a level 4. I've never made it past 2. I've gotten a 4th stage beast almost every single Unleashed run I've did, including some cool birth monsters. So that's pretty cool. As you can see, there's quite a list over here of the different... Sorry, I moved that real quick. The different things you could do. But other than that, there are some other things that you want to do on a daily basis, and this will kind of tie in to the end of our video, take us to the end of our video, because this is pretty much the last of your daily goals to get done, and that is to go through all of these. Have for the Pillar of Infinity is basically a PvP ladder, but it's not the PvP arena, and I kind of forgot to go over that, which is something else you want to do daily, is do your 5 PvP battles. But we'll cover that in another video, and the game does introduce you to the PvP when you get to it a little bit, so you know, it's still pretty much the same, except you won't have any control. As you see, if I try to fight, it tells me I need to be active between 20 and 22. Now, the unfortunate part about that is here on the east coast of the US, on this server, that is 7 o'clock in the morning. That starts at 7 a.m. and I am seldom up at that time, so it's unfortunate now. This is the one where you could grind out gold, escapades. Always make sure you do this once a day at least, if not twice or 3 times a day. I usually don't do it more than twice. In fact, I usually only do it once because I've been saving my crystals, but since I've gotten all my baby showers out of the way, that might change. Then you have Bushes Abound, which is kind of another PvP ladder type thing. You'll basically just going through fighting people's creatures as they get stronger as you go along, and as you can see, they get pretty strong there at the end. I usually make it to level 8 and sometimes level 9 if I'm lucky. So, but definitely make sure to do at least one of those a day. Your Door to Pleasures is another run through, kind of like Escapades. You want to make sure to do that because this is going to give you a lot of items. This one's important. Usually, you know, you're going to do this once a day, maybe 2 or 3 times a day if you're not satisfied with the run you had. Just make sure not to press the chest until you're satisfied with the run you had. Because once you press it for your treasure chest, you'll get your items and you won't be able to do it again that day. You only get rewards once for it, but you could retry multiple times to try and get further in the ladder. Now, it will always be the same. You'll always have the same setup every time you go through it in a day. It's going to be the same battles over and over, but if you realize you messed up or you think you could beat someone, you go ahead and do it again to push yourself further down the line. Then the last one we're going to look at here is the core. The core is something you're going to build up through and just go level through level and trying to get, I think these refresh every 2 hours. You get a pickaxe, but just keep going up and keep going up as far as you can go until you get beat, and just keep trying anyway. So all day, keep using those pickaxes. And the pickaxe are one of the few resources that will actually get used when you battle, whether you win or lose. So keep that in mind. You'll be a little bit limited on how many tries you have in the day, but realistically, once you hit the ceiling, you're going to be going through them pretty slow, and it's going to take you a couple days to build up enough power sometimes to get through a level. And then you might go through a couple levels, you might just hit another wall right away. Where I'm at, 154, I've been struggling with. I haven't been able to beat it, but that's pretty much, you know, around my power level too. So I'm pretty much right where I should be, kind of at my ceiling. So you want to make sure to do that pretty much, you know, as many times a day as you can and try to get through it. But don't stress yourself out too much if you're not really close to beating the level that you're at, because you might really need to just work harder and get stronger power before you go about it. So you guys, with that is pretty much everything in the game in a basic day and what you want to make sure to do, and the few couple tips that I had to actually get you a little bit more of an advantage than I had when I started, because the game was pretty new and I couldn't really find many sources for anything and any information for at least a week or two. I think it took 2 weeks before I found the Facebook page, which is Beast Evolved Global. So you go ahead and search that on Facebook. It's a group, and if you join up with them, there's a lot of really helpful people there. You'll definitely be able to help. Just make sure, if you're looking for things like glyph or mutate setups, to search the page before you go posting asking for them, because there are tons of posts for pretty much all of the beasts there to aid you in how you want to set them up and stuff like that. But eventually we will be going through some of those setups, some of the birth monsters and stuff like that, to let you know in our videos good ways to set those up. But until then, we're gonna head out. You guys, remember, if you like the video, don't forget to hit the like button, And if you want to see more geek and gaming videos, go ahead and subscribe to my channels. It was a good game. This is a good game. I highly recommend it. I really do enjoy it. I've been having fun with it. It is a little difficult at times, but if you like difficult games and games that take some challenge and thought, this is definitely a game for you. You'll find yourself switching up your teams so you could beat different stages and having to use your brain sometimes to conquer tasks. And if you're into that, this is definitely the game for you. So you guys, with that, have a great one.